Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. I have Daren Stewart, founder and CEO of 80/20 Connect, on the show with me today. Daren, welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be back. Thank you so much for having me. And I love the new format, by the way. It's great. Looks great.
Thank you so much. What is 80/20 Connect, and remind the new audience about the company?
Sure. I'll actually even try to simplify it a little bit for you. Essentially, we're connecting active investors to corporations who are going to be actively engaging with them in a sort of collaborative social group format. And what we're doing is reestablishing the communication and framework of how the industry works. And we allow investors to have real shareholder confidence and make decisions based on peer review and what other people are saying and asking. And it's working very well for the companies that are actively engaging with shareholders.
All right. Now, you've been building successful technology company for over the last 3 years. 80/20 has been about understanding your products and is the market fit or the need for someone to pay. So talk to us about what you're doing in that area.
Yeah, I think maybe I can help other younger entrepreneurs who are taking the leap and doing what we did. And I've had a chance now to speak to a lot of venture capital groups and funders. What you have to really focus on is most people come to market and say, "Oh, I'm worth 10 billion, but I don't have a customer. Right. I don't have a product. I have an idea of what it's going to look like." And so what we came back to and grinding it out and bootstrapping for the last few years, which will be an overnight success one day, is there a market that's there that you can tap into? Is there a need of that market for a change, a catalyst of change? And will somebody pay for your product? And if you can get somebody to pay for your product, whether it's one person or two or three, you now actually have a viable business. Then you go to market with something that's a little more tangible for investors. I think people come and try to raise capital, and they don't have anybody paying them for their service. And I think that it's really difficult for investors to step into companies that don't offer that. And I think over the last 3 years, we've been able to prove that over the last 3 years, grinding it out, we've been able to get there.
Now, a lot of things in my world, when you go through this process, valuation comes up first and foremost. So you've got to be able to understand how the investor looks at it, but how you can structure the project or the process or the investment into the company in such a way that they get beyond that point, if you don't have a lot of customers and you're a startup, to be able to still obtain investor capital for a great idea. Talk to me about that.
I think we have to remember that investors have an apex of information that entrepreneurs don't. And what I mean by that is, investors have seen 100 deals, 2,000 deals. They've made 100 investments or 1,000 investments. And so when you come in with, oh, there's $1 billion market and I just need 1%, or you have too much of a hockey stick revenue curve and too many things. I mean, they've seen this before. You haven't outsmarted them. So you really got to be humble about your approach and humble about your valuation. And you got to show them that you're going to be persistent and fight it out, because the last thing they want to do is put a bunch of money into somebody. And it gets a little hard down the road and you don't want to do it anymore. So I think it's really about character. That's why they look at management experience, but not everybody has management experience. So, these are things as young entrepreneurs, they got to take in consideration that these guys have seen lots of deals, lots of people. Don't be cookie cutter. Think outside the box, be aggressive, get those customers.
Give me just a couple, because we only have limited time with each other today.
Sure.
Not that we won't be able to come back and do it again, but give me just a couple of success stories that come through your doors, wrong attitude, wrong process, you structured it correctly, and then went on to succeed because of your advice.
There are always some coming through the door.
Yeah.
I think, we've been doing some work in the crypto space as of late. Mm-hmm. And, when the cryptos were hot, back in early January and late last year, you could throw anything basically at the market and they would take it up. I think what we're doing right now is telling you have to rethink it. The market's changed. The regulators are involved. You got to not rely on hype and promo and this whole thing of supply and demand, but what is your actual business, and start focusing on the platforms and the communities first. And when they did that, and then they walked away from the crypto being the main selling point and started focusing on, let's get some equity investment in the door first, then go back to the cryptos after. That transition has opened a lot more doors for, in this specific case, these companies to actually start raising capital, because cryptos got to be much more risky when the regulators got involved. And there's obviously a lot of things going on out there in the crypto world that have changed it for them. But most of my work comes down as young people that even are just in the process of raising capital, and just trying to help them refine their ideas a little bit stronger and get them further down the road.
I'm glad you brought that out. That's going to help the conversation a lot. Now, the next steps for 80/20 as you move into say the commercial launch.
Sure. So as what we planned over the summer is that we've learned a lot in the last 3 years. It's now time to make the next step. We're going to change our pricing models a bit to make it more cost effective for those smaller companies to get involved, but we're going to add other services and marketing and advertising services so that they can spend money when they're ready. And what that happens is it allows them to focus their dollars more effectively. We're launching a program right now in the US and in Canada where the first 50 clients that come on are going to get $80.20 a month as a lifetime membership to kind of be a part of the community and grow with us and go through the pains and tribulations of this new development. And we're going to do the same thing with our new US partners. So, other than development and raising some capital, that's kind of where we're going to be focused on in the next few months.
What about the bigger plan, say the TSX or US exchanges? Are you planning any move in that direction?
Yeah, we are working, and obviously disclosure issues, we are working on financing capital right now, raising some capital right now through a couple different streams. And once those are done and we have our U.S. partnerships firmly in place, we're going to look to do a public offering or a listing on hopefully the TSXV in the next 24 to 36 months.
Good. Great conversation. Is there anything else you want to add before we part ways today?
You know what? I'm always happy to come back and give you another update on what we're doing and the things that we're tracking on and some of the cool companies that we come across that your listeners would be happy to hear about.
Darren, I love what you're doing. As a matter of fact, I can utilize your services myself, and I plan on moving forward with you. So I want to come back and hear some more success stories and hear some new things that have happened from the last time we spoke to where we are now.
Awesome. I look forward to it, and I'm happy to have us working together on site and helping companies out across this nation.
I know you're doing great stuff for everybody. All right. You've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.